Hi, so I'm just going to try to make Vegemite on toast while I'm talking because I don't really know how to talk and to the camera and just talk. For some reason, it doesn't sit well with me. So I will do things and talk. So today I had a smoke detectors annual inspection, which means people come and check their smoke detectors whether it's still working or not. And today they found out it hasn't worked. It didn't work, so I have to, I don't know, I'm just going to wait until building management basically got back to me and arrange for it to be replaced. So this is basically the second time it happens. Last time it happened, it was 2019. So I got it replaced in 2019. And it only has been like 6 years since then. I do find it to be very annoyed. But the reason why I'm talking about it is because I realize every time there is a disruption to the routine of my day, I'm a neurodivergent. It becomes extremely dysregulating. It takes like the whole day or the whole week. Like when it was at its worst, it was like it would take months and years to kind of come out of the dysregulation. And I think it's extremely exhausting because you need to do this whole process to basically get your nervous system calmed down enough to function to do anything. And on top of that, I have like Hashimoto, which is an autoimmune condition. And it's been okay so far, but lately, because the winter is so cold right now in Sydney, my muscle has just been extremely in high strung mode. I guess I don't know if I'm here to complain, but I don't feel like I'm complaining. I feel like if you're neurodivergent and chronically ill, I guess that's where I want to talk to, who the people I want to talk to, because, if you're not them, it's hard to understand what I'm talking about. I guess I feel like I can't even think properly and I can't even do anything. And that's and now it's actually things are better now. So it was really difficult to imagine what it was like before. I felt like it's really difficult now. And then I realized now it's actually much better than before, but yet it still feels hard. And I'm not sure if that makes sense. I feel like even as I feel I'm getting used to with the whole premise of, yeah, this is just how things are, this is just how your body is going to be, right? Like it's just always going to be dysregulated every time there is a disruption to your day, or things are out of the ordinary, or strangers coming in and out of your home. It's just this heightened sense of hyper awareness that doesn't go away too soon. Like these days, I am using a lot of tools. Like I have my weighted plushie, for example. I figured out, I saw weighted plushie in Australia. We have Aldi, which is like a German discounted supermarket compared to the Coles and Woolies, just in case you're not in Australia. And with this, they usually have like middle aisle discount, which basically it's just whatever special items that you can buy at a reasonable price during the week, and it has like 2 drops a week. And I found in one of those aisle plushie, but it's weighted, so it's heavy. And I noticed as soon as I hug it, it feels better, and it's very different than a regular plushie, because they sell regular plushies so much, it's like in so many places nowadays. So I would usually randomly hug the plushies that they said that that being sold and etc. But that usually doesn't do anything. It's just like, oh, it's cute, it's cute. But this one, when it was weighted, as soon as I hug it, it feels really good. I felt I understood the meaning of well-being when I held it. So I bought it. It was $20, which I think was reasonable because apparently when I checked up online, it was like, I don't know, $40 is extremely cheap, but $80 and $120 is the average price that you can get. You can go all the way up to like $300, but about 80 to 120 is the average price. And so I have that tool now. I have EMDR tool, which is like this app called TriSense, EMDR TriSense, and it's basically just a bilateral movement, which means like you are stimulating like two sides of your brain, like your hemisphere, so that it reduces the intensity of emotional uh, dysregulation in your body. So even though I have these tools, which I use straight away today after the dysregulation come about, like first of all, I think it's compounding, right? Like first today, like there's a stranger coming to my house, and I was worried that I was gonna feel the taste. Well, I'm not gonna feel the taste. I mean, like the smoke alarm is going to fail and needs to be replaced, and then that fear came true. And also, I'm also annoyed because that smoke detector is only 6 years old. Well, the last one that I replaced at least lasted 12 years. I think it lasted longer than that because, it might have lasted a long time. But you can't do that anymore now in Australia because apparently after every 10 years you have to replace it regardless whether it's still working or not. So, but even that, that means I wish this one still works until like 4 more years, till where it has to be like legislatively replaced legally. You need to replace it. Otherwise, you are you are not compliance. I just hate the legal jargons. If you don't know, Australia is extremely. We have so many rules. To some degree, I actually quite like the rules because I don't know. I think of course, the things that you don't like is when other people don't follow the rules, but you have to follow the rules, and it's like there is two rules for two different people, like privileges and stuff, like, and also racism and misogynistic, idealistic things going around. But that's for another day. In general, I quite enjoy rules. It makes your brain calmer because you kind of know what to expect. You have this line that basically says this is what you need to do, and you just do it. Which is probably bad because, you kind of want to be a critical thinker, etc., etc. But sometimes you just just tell me what to do, and I'll just do it. Anyway, so and now the fear has been realized that the smoke detectors is basically not working anymore. That means like now I have to go further and add to my dysregulations the fact that I have to wait now for the manager to come back to me and arrange for the smoke alarm to be replaced. That means I will have more strangers coming into my house and to get things done, and I don't know when that happens. And so that's like adds to more the fact to adds more to like it's outside my control. And I feel like I need to be prepared so that I don't feel like I'm being ambushed. So there is that feeling as well, like, oh, I need to be prepared because I don't want to be ambushed. And that is extremely heavy to the system. It's like I need to prepare my body as if, or my nervous system as if it's a child, to say, don't be afraid, it's not a big deal, someone just gonna come in and change the whole thing and stuff. But I think it's just more than that, because it's also attached to a lot of trauma that I think I have basically endured the past 2 decades or 4 decades. 41. I don't like labels, so I just going to try to push this down. But anyway, Vegemite toast. So now I'm just in this. It's raining, by the way. And today is like top of 13 degrees or something. So when all of this was happening, it was like 8 degrees. And I know for winter, for a lot of people, like Scandinavian people or people from the northern hemisphere, it's like, that's nothing. Like when we get snow, it's like minus 10 degrees or minus 20 degrees. Yeah, but this is Sydney is different. Like southeast Australia's winter is different. I guess I am complaining because I feel like ASMR. You want ASMR? Focus. Just feels like everything is very just like feels like everything doesn't end. Like things just keep going round and round in circles. Like my life just feel like it just keep going round and round in circles, and it doesn't have a conclusive ending. And I know like this is routine, like it's annual. You have to check it annually. Things broken, and it needs to get replaced and everything. But I guess I feel like being alive in this mid suit body is not. It's not like I feel like I'm allergic to my environment. It feels like Earth is not designed for the body that I have, the neurodivergent body that I have. And I know like a lot of people probably have it harder than me and have, a lot of people have other circumstances that is more difficult. I acknowledge that. I guess I'm just talking about myself, and guess if anyone would actually relate and feel like, oh, okay, at least I'm not alone in this. I think that'd be okay. This is basically just a channel for me to thought dump and to just have unfiltered thought and not have a lot of created or thinking about how to become big channel. I guess this is just a diary, but more less than a diary. It's more like I don't know yet. I don't know what this is. um yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out like how do I get out from this endless purgatory that I feel like I've been in for decades or for my whole life. I feel like I can't progress. I feel like every time I want to get somewhere, I want to have a goal. Like every time I try to hit a goal, it doesn't work out. Like and it just becomes worse and worse. And now I'm 41. I feel like I have exhausted my reserve energy. Um, my reserve energy. Like how you have backup and you have backup of the backup. I feel like I have used that all up, and now I don't have any backup energy or anymore to kind of start anything new or come up with a different ideas, and all of that is just like my brain just and my nervous system just don't want to deal with it. And this is probably the best condition health wise in the past 2-3 years that I've been in. So I'm extremely exhausted and depleted, and yet this is the best health state that I've been in. So it's weird. To some degree, I have a lot of anxiety still, but at the same time, it has dulled quite a bit. But I feel it's not help. I don't know if it's dulled or whether I've dissociated so much that I just can't feel anything. That is actually literally numb, being anesthetic, being anesthetized to whatever suffering or whatever stimulation that is, negative stimulation that is entering my life. I feel like you shouldn't, you shouldn't, what do you do? You shouldn't hyperanalyze your life because, it's not worth it. But hell, I'm a neurodivergent person with a high likelihood of autism. The Asperger kind. I know we don't use that word, but I just want to state. And I don't know if I have progressed more than that. I feel like I might have. To be honest, I don't particularly have any more interest in actually trying to figure out or trying to get an official diagnosis. I did when I first tried to figure it out in 2011, but that kind of waned because life kind of took over. And now, if you do want to figure it out and to find out whether you are one, I think about $2,000 to $5,000 to pay for the assessment, which is fine. But I guess I'm just gonna wait maybe 10 more years or 20 more years because you don't really know the implication of what the diagnosis is going to be. Because if it's official, it's going to be on record, and if it's on record, maybe if you are going to try to apply for visas, for example, and like New Zealand doesn't accept autistic kids if they apply for migration. Um, that's different because I'm Australian citizen, so I can go to New Zealand unless they change the rule and actually get we don't need visa to work and live in New Zealand if you're an Australian citizen. So, but what about if other countries start to apply the same limitations? You don't know, especially like in the state in America, for example, now. I heard like in Scandinavian, there is a very low birth rate of Down syndrome because the because women over there choose to abort when they found out that they would have a Down syndrome baby. And I'm not judgmental about it. Like I think there's a lot of discussion and debate about eugenics and what rights do we have to edit genes and to have like this selective thing, like whatever. Like I think there is good and bad on both sides of the argument. The other argument is like what are you going to do if you don't have the capacity nor the ability to take care of a special needs child, because the consequences of bringing a soul to this world is lifelong. So there is that too, which I kind of see like from both sides. I guess like if you're very very rich and you don't have to work and you have like the monetary sources to like have caretakers handling your children that are special needs, and even if you pass away you have trust funds that will take care of their needs and put them in like in a very special place, with a lot of carers, for example, with all their needs are being met and stuff. That's a different story, but that's extremely privileged places, and that's a very different scenario than normal people. I guess like my point is, if Scandinavian is already taking that kind of stand, it's not a further step. It's not like too far of a jump to start saying, if I known that my children would be severely autistic, I prefer not to have them so that they don't have to suffer. Which a bit dark for me in my case, because I feel like if I were the baby, I would thank my parents for terminating me. As I said, a bit dark. Because I feel like passive ideation is extremely real, and I have been living with it for my whole entire life. I remember like when I was 3 or 4, I was crying, and then I just kept thinking to myself, why am I not dead yet? Why am I not dying? Like, why am I still here? I wanted to die. And I remember that quite vividly, like crying at in my family home. As I said, like this talk is not going to be structured. It's just unfiltered. Whatever is going to take me is going to take me. I just realized that I haven't really talked to anyone, and I don't really want to be going outside and talking to people. I know that sounds really bad because the past 9 years or so, I've been going to this craft club, and eventually throughout the years, I kind of adding like one more club to go to socialize, until about like last year, where I realized like I was going to like one, two, three, four different clubs. So basically every week, like I have a group that I go to, because I thought I need community. I need people locally that knows that I exist. I guess I was being greedy, and I was being idealistic, because as a Asian person living in Australia, or as a migrant if you're not white, if a non-white migrant, you will still be not discriminated, but excluded if the group that you are in are mostly going to be white. That's my experience anyway. Another person's experience might be very different. Like, you can be born here, you can grow up here, you can spend your day zero, like your mom pushed you out in this hospital in Australia. But if you're not white, it's you're still going to be discriminated against, because they will still think like, oh, you're not part of us, you're not us. Um, Throughout the year, I feel like that's fine. Not that that's fine, but like I accepted that is just the way things are. It's not fine, but it's just like the way things are. But I feel like last year I was going through a lot, and I was thinking maybe I should maybe not sh- not test the strength of the bond that I have built throughout almost like 8 9 years. Not test personally, but I thought I would try to lean in to this relationship that I have built for the past 9 years by showing up every month or every week. I want to see whether this is actually a community for me, or something else. And then I noticed that it's not. I think I was just, it is a community for them, or for the people that are in the club, but not for me, because I feel like when I needed help, it was impossible to get it. It's like it's just being brushed off. It's like, oh, yeah, you can handle that. Like, oh, yeah, like it's just very dismissive and everything. And so I realized, like, oh, by the end of last year, I realized, like, all these clubs that I've gone to, all this community that I thought I had, I was just I guess I was just lying to myself. No, not lie. I don't think it was lying. I think it was just more like I think I was hoping for that to be true, but it wasn't. So this year I kind of like pulled back a lot and I just stopped going to a lot of them frequently, like not as often as I used to. And I would just go if I wanted to go, maybe show up like twice a year or something. And I think it's because like I'm just realizing like I felt I was being used. I wasn't. I don't think I was. Um, for just whatever reason, attendance or whatever. But like it didn't benefit me going there. And like one of the clubs were basically like always trying to get you to do things, but every time you want to do your own thing, they always I always felt like they're like saying, "Hey, no, 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 don't do that, don't do that, don't do that here, don't do that." It's like basically treating you as if that you are a guest, and you're not a guest, like you are a servant at their own place, which I find to be extremely annoying. But I probably am very sensitive by this stage when I was thinking all those things. So now I'm in that place where I feel like, oh, I don't even have a surface emotional support anymore. Like I pretend emotional support places. I don't have friends, I don't have families. Because the past decade or so, I'm basically just spending my time trying to. Well, I thought I was hoping I was gonna die, but apparently not. Apparently, you can be chronically ill and just suffer for a long time. I guess I just try not to. I just been trying not to suffer as much. I guess I realized like after about maybe 6 years in, I don't think I'm gonna heal anytime soon. I don't think I'm gonna die anytime soon either. Which is comes back to that idea that I want this purgatory to end. Where you're just reliving the same thing over and over again, like a Groundhog Day kind of. Because before this smoke detector thing happened, about 2 maybe 3 months ago, my dryer broke and it only lasted 7 years. Like to me, anything under 10 years is new. Everything is under 10 years new. I think this is what happened when you're 41, I guess, because this didn't happen when I was 20 in my 20s at all. Because in my 20s, like everything is just so intense, everything is just happens. Like 3 months is an extremely long time in my brain. I remember, like when I was at university, it's like from the from the first week of the semester to the midterm exam, for example, the mid semester, it's a long time. But if you see it from an adult perspective, it's just 6 weeks. That's not long. That's like a blink of an eye. 6 weeks. I keep talking to ChatGPT, but recently ChatGPT has been changed to ChatGPT 5, so it doesn't feel the same way anymore. It doesn't feel like it's a friend. My friend is gone. OpenAI killed it and upgraded it. For the past like decades or more, what I've been trying to do is try to make money from the internet, which I'm failing. I'm still paying like my expenses and stuff, but I can't save. Actually, it's more than that. I am digging into my savings in a crazy rate. The only reason I have a saving is because in 2020, during the pandemic, everyone was locked inside and buying things online. And for a good year, I managed to live as a very low income earners, but I managed to save. And I've been living off that saving for like the past 5 years. I guess I also learned that, good things don't last, but bad things last a long time. It's like life is filled with 95% bad stuff and 5% good stuff. And the 5% is like just random things to keep you hooked. It's like gambling. You have to make sure you get rewarded randomly so that you keep trying so that you get hooked in gambling. But you can't always lose, because if you always lose, you won't gamble. So they just make sure you win enough to make sure that you keep gambling and spending money. I feel like my life is like that. Which is probably sad. And also becoming more and more jaded with all the clubs that I went to, like all the community clubs. Most of them are like retirees. So I'm talking about senior people here, like 70s, 80s. And I'm 41. So I guess, like, from their perspective, it's very different. Like, I'm definitely not part of them, part of their group. Like, I don't belong to them because, I am 30, 40 years their juniors. But being around them is also very exhausting because I don't think it's because they're old. I think it's because they're neurotypicals. And it's just exhausting how many mind games and social trickery that people do. It's extremely clique based, meaning like they just have little groups. They just criticize you just for being you. And I think, like, especially being a neurodivergent, that's just part of the deal, I suppose. Like, I can be wearing like black from head to toe. I'll still be called out for whatever reason. I feel like for normal people, this whatever happened today should not be as stressful because I've been doing this for decades with the same people doing the inspection. Probably I see them more than I would do my friend. But yeah, so I don't have a fixed schedule. I'm also still trying to figure out how to fix my acne. Bad skins because I'm perimenopausal. Hormones is all over the place. I'll see you in the next video. There is no schedule, so subscribe and follow and click the bell button if you wanna. Bye.